This is a story about a truth not often spoken aloud, even in the sanctity of a doctor's office. It's a subject that perhaps many men endure in silence, a private burden carried alone. It's about a change that can occur where, despite sexual stimulation, nothing is released. This is a story about the dry orgasm. As a urologist for over 45 years, I have heard the same worried question from countless patients, men from every walk of life, their faces etched with a deep personal fear. Is something wrong with me? The image is seared into my memory. A man, often in the prime of his later years, opening the door to my examination room with a heavy heart, his face a mask of anxiety, finally mustering the courage to voice the concern that has been eating away at his sense of self. But I am here to tell you, with the certainty of a long and dedicated career, that this is not a problem you face alone. And more importantly, I am here to share the profound truth that recovery from the distress it causes doesn't necessarily require complex medical treatments or invasive procedures. The path to reclaiming your vitality can begin right in the comfort and privacy of your own home. My name is Dr. Arthur Miller. I am 83 years old, and I still see patients in my clinic 3 days a week. It is my life's work and my continued passion to help men, particularly those in their senior years, navigate the changes in their bodies and rediscover the vigor of their lives. People often ask me, with a mixture of curiosity and disbelief, how I maintain the energy and focus to continue practicing medicine at my age. Each time, I offer a warm smile and reply that the small, daily practices I'm about to share with you are the very source of my own enduring strength. When you picture a man in his 80s, what comes to mind? Is it difficult to imagine someone who is still actively engaged in his profession, who sits with patients, shares in their worries, and helps them find their way back to a life of joy and confidence? It might be, yet, here I am, a testament to the possibilities. I am here to tell you about the incredible miracles that can unfold from the smallest changes, changes that you can begin at home, right now, especially in those moments when you feel like your body and spirit have come to a standstill. The stories I'm about to share are not from textbooks. They are forged from my own direct experiences and confirmed through the lives of the many men I've had the honor of treating. Several years ago, a gentleman in his early 70s, we'll call him Robert, came to my office seeking advice. He was a retired architect, a man who had spent his life designing structures meant to stand the test of time. He was, by all accounts, in excellent physical health. His annual checkups were unremarkable. He maintained a healthy weight, and he spoke fondly of his relationship with his wife, Helen, of nearly 50 years. They had built a life together, a sturdy and beautiful structure of their own. But one day, a crack appeared in the foundation of his confidence. He explained to me, his voice barely above a whisper, that he had discovered something profoundly unsettling. During intimacy with his wife, he would reach the peak of arousal, the climax, but nothing would happen. There was no release. This experience, the dry orgasm, had sent him into a spiral of deep frustration and despair. Dr. Miller, he began, his gaze fixed on his hands clasped tightly in his lap. We made love, and nothing came out. Am I finished as a man? Is this it? His eyes, when he finally lifted them to meet mine, were filled with a raw, unmistakable anguish. The words hung in the air, heavy with the weight of his fear. His predicament was not merely a mechanical failure of the body, it was a profound crisis of identity. The absence of a single biological function had caused his self-esteem to crumble, leading him to believe that his life as a man, as a husband, as a vital human being, was over. It was a classic case of the mind collapsing long before the body ever would. Perhaps you recognize a piece of your own story in Robert's Carrot. Have you ever felt that moment of disconnect, of sensing a change in your body as the years pass, and feeling a deep sense of loss for the way things used to be? You are not alone. So many men carry a similar burden, yet they suffer in silence, unable to confide in anyone, They hide it away as if it were a personal failing, a mark of shame. This isolation often breeds a secondary illness, a sickness of the spirit. The mental and emotional pain born from a physical change can run far deeper and wider than we imagine, eroding the very fabric of our lives. This was precisely what had happened to Robert. Consumed by despair, he began to withdraw from the life he had so carefully built. The joy he once found in his woodworking hobbies faded. The easy, flowing conversations with his wife became strained and infrequent. A single physical phenomenon, the cessation of ejaculation, had cast a long, dark shadow over his entire existence. Looking at him, at this good man, so lost in his own private grief, I was reminded of a fundamental lesson from my years in medicine. Sexual health is never just about physical function. It is inextricably linked to our sense of vitality, our emotional well-being, and our overall satisfaction with life. In that quiet room, I looked Robert in the eye and said something that seemed to startle him. Robert, your ejaculation may have stopped, but your sensation can be recovered. Your pleasure can be reborn. For a fleeting moment, his eyes filled with skepticism, the look of a man who had already resigned himself to a lesser life. But I continued, my voice calm and assured. I explained that the changes in ejaculatory function can be a natural part of the aging process, but that doesn't mean sexual pleasure and satisfaction have to disappear along with it. In fact, I told him, our relentless focus on ejaculation as the singular goal of sex often causes us to miss the vast symphony of subtle, profound, and deeply pleasurable sensations that are available to us throughout the entire experience. And so, instead of prescribing medication or scheduling a battery of complex and expensive tests, I taught him 3 simple habits, 3 daily practices he could perform at home. These weren't treatments. They were rituals of self-awareness. They required no special equipment, no costly prescriptions. All they asked of him was a willingness to listen to his own body and mind with a newfound sensitivity. He was hesitant at first, a man grasping at straws, but he agreed to follow my advice. 1 month later, Robert walked back into my office. The transformation was remarkable. The despair that had clouded his features was gone, replaced by a gentle but confident smile. He sat down and spoke, his words chosen with care. Dr. Miller, he said, a note of wonder in his voice. It's still the same. There's no fluid, but the feeling, the sensation, has come back to life. I never knew how precious that could be. I truly had no idea. His voice was thick with emotion, a profound sense of relief from a man who had reclaimed a lost part of himself. He no longer saw himself as finished. Though his physical function hadn't reverted to what it once was, he had discovered a new, richer dimension of sexual sensation. He had reconnected with the vitality and joy of life itself. Robert's powerful experience solidified my resolve. It became my mission to share this message of hope with the countless other men who were suffering in silence, convinced that their best years were behind them. This story is about more than just a physical condition. It's about a journey of rediscovery. It's about understanding that to move forward, we must look deeper. The changes that await you, should you choose to embark on this path, are nothing short of astounding, a transformation that elevates not just your sexual health, but the entire quality of your life. So, where do you begin? Are you ready? Starting today, to introduce a small, meaningful change to your body and mind, the at-home recovery routine, 5 pillars of rediscovery. What follows are the 5 practices I have developed and refined over decades. They are the same principles I shared with Robert and hundreds of other men. They are simple, but their power lies in their consistency and the intention you bring to them. The slow touch technique, reawakening the senses. In our modern, goal-oriented culture, many men approach sexual stimulation with a sense of urgency and intensity. The prevailing mindset is often that faster, stronger, and more direct stimulation is the most effective path to pleasure. However, for a body that is changing, this approach can be counterproductive. It can overwhelm and desensitize the very nerve endings we are trying to engage. effectively dulling our ability to perceive subtle and nuanced pleasure when experiencing dry orgasm. The primary objective is to resensitize the body to reawaken its vast capacity for sensation. The slow touch technique is an exceptionally effective method for achieving this. The core principle is to shift your focus away from the genitals as the sole center of pleasure, and instead begin to awaken the sensory potential of your entire body. I recall another patient, a man in his late 70s who had been a competitive runner his whole life. He was accustomed to pushing his body to its limits. When he could no longer ejaculate, he felt an immense sense of failure, as if he had lost a race. He didn't even know he was running. He initially dismissed my advice for slow touch as pointless and inefficient, but at his wife's urging, he gave it a try. He developed a habit of gently, mindfully stroking the areas around his genitals, his inner thighs, his lower abdomen, the perineum before any direct stimulation. At first, he reported feeling nothing but frustration, but he persisted. After a few days, he came back and said, "It's strange. I started to feel a kind of tingling sensation." A few weeks later, he returned with a look of pure astonishment. "I can't explain it," he said, "but I was able to achieve a feeling of deep, full body satisfaction without any direct genital stimulation at all. The pleasure was everywhere." He had, for the first time, separated the feeling of orgasm from the act of ejaculation. How to practice the slow touch technique, whether you are alone or with a partner. Resist the instinct to go straight for the genitals with intense stimulation. Think of it as exploring a new landscape. Start with the periphery. Begin by exploring the surrounding areas. Use your fingertips to gently trace patterns on your inner thighs, your lower stomach, and the sensitive skin of the perineum, the area between the scrotum and the anus. Vary your touch. Don't be monotonous. Experiment with different types of touch. Use the feather-light brush of your fingertips, the gentle warmth of your entire palm, or the soft pads of your fingers. The goal is not to arouse in the conventional sense, but simply to notice. Feel the texture of your skin, the warmth, the subtle response to your touch. Focus on the senses. This is a mindful practice. Close your eyes. Instead of relying on visual cues, focus entirely on the sense of touch and the rhythm of your breath. Pay attention to the most delicate signals your body sends back to you. Is there a warmth spreading, a slight quickening of your pulse, a subtle tingling? Avoid intense stimulation. Initially, starting with strong, direct pressure can numb the nerve endings, making it harder to feel the more subtle sensations. Think of it like listening for a whisper in a loud room. You must first quiet the noise, let go of the goal. This is the most crucial element. Do not make ejaculation or even a traditional orgasm your objective. Your only goal is to feel. Simply be present with the sensations as they arise, without judgment or expectation. Consider a lubricant. For those with sensitive skin, excessive friction can be distracting. A small amount of high-quality lotion or oil can enhance the experience, allowing your hands to glide smoothly and adding another sensory dimension. Important considerations. If you have any specific medical conditions that have led to a loss of sensation, it is essential to approach this practice gently and in consultation with your healthcare provider. The key to this technique is patience. You are, in essence, re-educating your nervous system. This process takes time and consistent, gentle effort. Think for a moment. How often do you truly listen to your body with this level of delicate attention? R. Abdominal breathing and pelvic relaxation. Releasing the tension. Many men mistakenly believe that sexual function is a phenomenon isolated to the genitals. In reality, it is a complex, full-body process deeply connected to the state of our nervous system and musculature, particularly the muscles of the pelvic floor. The ejaculatory reflex, for instance, is regulated by the rhythmic contraction and relaxation of these deep internal muscles. When the pelvic floor is chronically tense due to stress, poor posture, or habitual clenching, this natural, involuntary reflex can be significantly inhibited. Abdominal breathing, also known as diaphragmatic breathing, is a powerful tool for shifting the body out of a state of tension and into a state of relaxation. By engaging the diaphragm for deep, slow breaths, we activate the parasympathetic nervous system, the body's rest and digest system. This activation sends a cascade of calming signals throughout the body, inducing a state of systemic relaxation. This profound sense of ease helps to soften the rigid, clenched muscles of the pelvic floor, making them more responsive and pliable to sexual stimuli. I once treated a 65-year-old accountant who had been suffering from chronic lower back pain for years. Alongside his experience with dry orgasm, he spent his days hunched over a desk, a posture that contributes significantly to pelvic tension. I suggested that before any sexual activity, he spend 5 minutes practicing abdominal breathing while gently rocking his pelvis back and forth. He was highly skeptical. Unable to see the connection, he followed the advice nonetheless. After a few weeks of consistent practice, he reported a fascinating change. The orgasm isn't explosive like it used to be. He explained, but my whole body feels so much more relaxed. The sexual sensations are clearer, more vivid, as if a layer of static has been removed. By releasing the chronic tension in his core, he had opened up a new pathway to pleasure. How to practice abdominal breathing and pelvic relaxation. Find a quiet, comfortable space where you can sit or lie down without being disturbed. Hand placement. Place one hand on your chest and the other on your lower abdomen, just below your navel. This will help you monitor your breathing. Inhale through the nose. Inhale slowly and deeply through your nose. As you, focus on allowing your abdomen to expand, pushing your bottom hand outward like a balloon inflating. Your goal is to keep the hand on your chest as still as possible. This ensures you are using your diaphragm, not your chest muscles. Exhale through the mouth. Exhale slowly and gently through your mouth. As if you were blowing softly through a straw, feel your abdomen gently fall as the air is released. Introduce the pelvic tilt. Once you have a steady rhythm with your breath, begin to incorporate a very gentle pelvic movement. As you exhale, gently tilt your pelvis slightly forward, tucking your tailbone. As you inhale, allow your pelvis to rock back to its neutral position. The movement should be slow, subtle, and completely effortless. It is a release, not an exercise. Practice for 5 to 10 minutes. Repeat this cycle of breathing and gentle movement for 5 to 10 minutes. It is particularly effective when practiced right before beginning any form of sexual activity, as it primes the body for a relaxed and receptive state. Important considerations: avoid holding your breath or forcing the air out. This can create more tension. The key is to be gentle and natural. If you have pre-existing pain in your back or pelvis, do not force the pelvic tilting movement. Simply focus on the deep abdominal breathing, or consult with a physical therapist for guidance. If you experience any sharp or sudden pain, stop immediately and consult your doctor. Through the simple act of deep breathing, you can begin to release years of accumulated tension in your body. How familiar are you with this profound sense of physical calm? SAN, warm towel therapy, improving circulation and nerve response. Proper blood circulation is fundamental to every function in our body, and it is especially critical for healthy sexual response. The perineum, that small but vital area between the anus and the scrotum, is a major crossroads for important blood vessels and nerves that supply the entire genital region. When blood flow in this area is sluggish or constricted, it can lead to dulled sensation and a diminished sexual response. Warm towel therapy is a simple, effective, and deeply relaxing hydrotherapy technique that helps to address this. Applying gentle warmth to the perineum encourages vasodilation, the widening of blood vessels. This, in turn, improves blood flow to the region, nourishing the nerve endings and making them more responsive. The principle is as simple as warming your cold hands on a winter day. The warmth brings life and feeling back to the tissues. One of my patients, a man who worked outdoors year-round, found this practice to be a game changer. He began a ritual of applying a warm, damp towel to his perineum for 5 minutes each night before bed. He wasn't expecting much, but after about a month of this simple routine, He came to his appointment with a renewed sense of optimism. "It's the strangest thing," he said. "My whole body feels warmer and more relaxed at night. But more than that, during sex, I'm noticing subtle feelings that I haven't felt in years. It's like the area has woken up." The gentle heat had provided both physical and psychological comfort, creating a state of relaxation that made him more attuned to his body's signals. How to practice warm towel therapy. This is best incorporated into your evening routine. Perhaps after a shower or bath, prepare the towel. Take a clean washcloth or small towel and soak it in warm water. Wring it out so that it is damp but not dripping. Check the temperature. The temperature should be comfortably warm, not hot. A good guide is to aim for a temperature slightly warmer than your body temperature, around 800 og 500 og 500 F40 og 500 C. Test it on your inner wrist first. Application. Lie down in a comfortable position and place the warm towel directly on your perineum. Relax and breathe. Close your eyes and simply rest for 5 to 10 minutes, allowing the warmth to penetrate the area. You can combine this with your abdominal breathing practice for an even more profound relaxation effect. This isn't just a physical treatment, it's an opportunity for mindful rest and sensory focus. Timing. Practicing this daily, especially in the evening, can have a cumulative effect on improving circulation and reducing pelvic tension. Important considerations. Never use a towel that is too hot. This can cause burns, especially on such a sensitive area. Be particularly cautious if you have diabetes or any condition that affects nerve sensation, as you may not be able to accurately gauge the temperature. The testicles are sensitive to heat. Avoid covering them directly with a hot towel for prolonged periods. The focus should be on the perineum itself. If you have certain medical conditions, such as varicocele enlarged veins in the scrotum or active inflammatory diseases, warm towel therapy may not be appropriate. Always consult with your doctor before beginning this or any new home remedy. Consider offering your body this small gift of rest. A single warm towel can be a powerful tool for reconnection. Prostate and seminal vesicle supportive stretch, enhancing flexibility and function. The prostate gland and the seminal vesicles are key organs in the male reproductive system, responsible for producing the components of semen. Their health and function are intimately connected to the surrounding network of pelvic floor muscles. The flexibility and strength of these muscles have a direct impact on the function of the prostate. As we age, or if we lead a sedentary lifestyle, the pelvic floor muscles can become weak and rigid. This can contribute to a decline in prostate function and may be a factor in issues like dry orgasm. The stretch I am about to describe is designed to gently release tension in the pelvic floor, improve flexibility in the hips and inner thighs, and enhance blood circulation to the entire pelvic basin. This, in turn, indirectly supports the health and function of the prostate and seminal vesicles. A patient of mine, a retired office manager in his late 60s, had spent decades sitting at a desk for 8 to 10 hours a day. He suffered from symptoms of an enlarged prostate alongside his dry orgasm. I taught him this simple kneeling stretch and advised him to practice it for just 3 minutes every day. After several weeks, he reported a noticeable improvement. It feels like something that was stuck has finally been released. He told me, "My urination stream feels a bit stronger, and during intimacy, there's a sense of openness, a feeling of flow that was missing before." The daily practice of gently stretching and relaxing his pelvic muscles had a positive effect on both his urinary and sexual function. How to practice the supportive stretch modified child's pose. Wear comfortable, loose-fitting clothing for this stretch. Starting position. Begin on your hands and knees on a soft surface like a carpet or yoga mat. Your knees should be about hip width apart. Ensure the tops of your feet are flat against the floor. The stretch. As you exhale, slowly lower your hips back towards your heels. Simultaneously, walk your hands forward and lower your upper body toward the floor. Rest your forehead gently on the ground. Arm position. You can either extend your arms straight out in front of you for a gentle shoulder stretch, or rest them alongside your body with your palms facing up. Hold and breathe. Hold this position for 30 to 60 seconds. Focus on your breathing. With each deep inhale, Feel your lower back expand. With each long exhale, feel your hips sink deeper towards your heels, releasing tension in your pelvic floor and inner thighs. Return to start. To come out of the pose, inhale and use your hands to gently walk your upper body back to the starting position. Repetition. Repeat this entire sequence 3 to 5 times. Important considerations. If you have knee or lower back pain, do not force this posture. You can modify it by placing a folded blanket or cushion under your knees for support or between your hips and heels to reduce the depth of the stretch. Alternatively, you can try a seated version by sitting in a chair and gently folding forward. If you have a known or suspected prostate condition or any other acute illness, it is crucial to consult with your doctor before beginning any new stretching regimen. If you feel any sharp pain, stop immediately. How flexible and open is your pelvic region right now? This simple stretch can begin to restore that vital suppleness. Woo! Masturbation without a goal, the art of pure sensation. Of all the techniques, this one is perhaps the most profound and transformative as it addresses the psychological component of sexual pleasure. For many men, the ultimate goal of any sexual activity, whether with a partner or alone, is ejaculation. This goal-oriented mindset becomes particularly problematic when experiencing dry orgasm. The inability to reach the finish line creates a cycle of obsession, frustration, and stress. This psychological pressure acts as a powerful inhibitor, paradoxically making it even harder to experience pleasure and further dulling the body's natural sensory feedback. True sexual satisfaction arises not from the achievement of a single event, but from the rich tapestry of sensations and emotions experienced throughout the entire process. Masturbation without the goal of ejaculation is a powerful training exercise in mindfulness. It is a practice of letting go of your attachment to the outcome and, instead, immersing yourself completely in the journey of sensation. I once worked with a gentleman in his early 70s who confessed that his dry orgasm had led him to avoid any form of sexual activity altogether. The fear of failure was too great. I advised him to completely abandon the expectation of ejaculation. His new assignment, I told him, was simply to explore the signals his body was sending him. He practiced by focusing on the feeling of his fingertips on his skin, the rhythm of his breathing, the subtle changes in his body's temperature. He also brought to mind warm memories of intimacy with his wife from years past. A month later, he reported a breakthrough. The climax is still dry, he admitted, but the depth of feeling in my body has completely changed. Most importantly, instead of anxiety, I feel a sense of peace and satisfaction afterward. I feel whole again. He has successfully uncoupled his sense of satisfaction from the physical act of ejaculation and reconnected it to the emotional and sensory experience of pleasure. How to practice goalless masturbation. Let go of the goal. Before you even begin, consciously make the decision to release the goal of ejaculation. Tell yourself, my only purpose here is to feel, to experience, and to be present. Focus on the senses. As you begin to touch yourself, shift your entire focus away from the end result. Concentrate on the immediate sensations. Notice the softness of your skin, the warmth generated by your touch, the way the stimulation radiates through your body. Involve your whole body. Don't limit your touch to your genitals. Use the principles of the slow touch technique. Explore your thighs, your abdomen, your chest. Mindful breathing. Pay close attention to your breath. Notice how its rhythm changes as your arousal shifts. Use your breath as an anchor to keep you in the present moment. Engage your mind and heart. Close your eyes. Instead of relying on external visual stimulation, tap into your internal world. Recall a loving memory, a moment of profound connection, or a cherished fantasy. Allow these positive emotional states to infuse the physical experience. This practice is not just about recovering a physical function. It is about understanding the very nature of sexual satisfaction and cultivating a richer connection between your body and your mind. Important considerations. Be patient and give yourself time. This is a radical shift in mindset and may feel strange at first. Don't be constrained by time. Allow yourself the space to explore your body at a leisurely, unhurried pace. Address emotional blocks. If you find that feelings of guilt, anxiety, or pressure are overwhelming, it may be helpful to seek guidance from a therapist or counselor specializing in sexual health. Sometimes, professional help is needed to untangle these deep-seated emotional patterns. Are you perhaps so focused on the destination that you are missing the beauty of the journey? A new way forward. Redefining vitality. Sexuality is not something that vanishes from our lives as we age. It is something that changes, that transforms, that evolves. The explosive, ejaculation-focused sexual experiences of our youth are not the only valid or valuable form of intimacy. The moment we can acknowledge and embrace this evolution is the moment we can reclaim our joy and vitality. A dry orgasm is not a signal that your masculinity is over. On the contrary, it may very well be a signal from your body that you are now ready to explore a different, perhaps even deeper and more holistic form of sexual satisfaction. Are there parts of your life that you have given up on? Attributing the loss solely to the passage of time, have you allowed the physical changes in your body to frustrate you into closing the door on your own heart? What one thing will you change today? Think back over the 5 recovery routines we've discussed. The slow touch technique, reawaken your subtle senses instead of chasing intense stimulation. Abdominal breathing and pelvic relaxation. Release your body's tension and invite a natural, unforced response. Warm towel therapy. Improve blood flow and restore nerve responsiveness in the perineum. Supportive stretching. Enhance the flexibility of your pelvic floor to support your internal organs. And most importantly, goalless masturbation. Let go of your attachment to the outcome and focus solely on the richness of the experience itself. All of these are small habits that you can begin today. In your own home, without any special tools, start with just 5 minutes a day. As you settle in for the night, perhaps you can gently wrap your perineum with a warm towel while you practice your deep abdominal breathing, or maybe you can take a few minutes in the morning to do the kneeling stretch, releasing the stiffness from your pelvis. These small, consistent practices will awaken new sensations in your body and mind. They will breathe life back into a part of you that you may have thought was lost forever. This is not merely about sexual recovery. It is about reigniting the vitality of your entire life. It is a worthy and noble beginning. Regardless of our age, we are all entitled to experience the joy and satisfaction that life has to offer. Just as I, at 83, continue to practice medicine and help my patients build healthier lives, you too are fully capable of living a vibrant, engaged, and fulfilling life. If you start now, just imagine what new horizons you might be exploring this time next year. What will you begin today?